Coming to you from Project 4 Studios in sunny Burbank, California, Art School Records presents On the Green Couch.
Dracula by Bram Stoker. Chapter 4. Jonathan Harker's Journal. Continued. I awoke in my own bed. If it be that I had not dreamt, the Count must have carried me here. I tried to satisfy myself on the subject, but could not arrive at any unquestionable result. To be sure, there were certain small evidences, such as that my clothes were folded and laid by in a manner which is not my habit. My watch was still unwound, and I am rigorously accustomed to wind it the last thing before going to bed. The ceremony is about to begin. Please be seated. And now, a very special message to the 2020 graduating class of Beverly Hills High School from Jimmy O. Yang. The open skies, trees blowing in the wind, thoughts and ideas flowing about, wondering what we could have done differently, asking ourselves, how could we let this happen? How will we overcome it? These are all questions we should have asked ourselves a long time ago. The time before the outbreak. And Minnesota's 1977 edition list of 30 renowned redheads. Number 1. Lucille Ball, U.S. actress and comedienne. Sarah Bernhardt, French actress. Lizzie Borden, American, acquitted of murder. Winston Churchill, British Prime Minister. Oliver Cromwell, British Lord Protector. George Armstrong Custer, U.S. General. Emily Dickinson, U.S. Poet. Elizabeth I, Queen of England. Arthur Godfrey, U.S. TV personality. Harold Red Grange, U.S. football hero. Henry VIII, King of England. Katharine Hepburn, U.S. actress. Thomas Jefferson, U.S. President. Rod Laver, Australian tennis champion. Sinclair Lewis, U.S. novelist and playwright. Napoleon, French emperor. Nero, Roman emperor.
It's a good feeling.
I know you said that, as you're getting older and you're going through experiences, you're feeling like your songwriting is changing. Does other people, having listened to it in such high volumes, do you feel a growing sense of responsibility to put in more time and energy into crafting good songs in order to, pay respect to your fans?
Excellent question.
Yeah.
The music you're listening to right now was recorded at a live event here in Los Angeles this past October. The artist performing and the instrument used are the subject of today's episode, but we'll get to that in just a few moments. First, I'd like to extend the following message. Cat on the mat may seem to dream of nice mice that suffice for him or cream. But he free may be, walks in thought, unbowed, proud, where loud roared and fought his kin, lean and slim, or deep in den, in the east feasted on beasts and tender men. The giant lion with iron claw in paw, and huge ruthless tooth in gory jaw. The pard, dark-starred, fleet upon feet, that oft soft from aloft leaps on his meat, where woods loom in gloom, far now they be, fierce and free, and tamed is he. But fat cat on the mat, kept as a pet, he does not forget. Hey everybody, Bill here again. The first interview we're going to hear today is the one that I did with Autumn Whitaker of Hawk Percival. Her and her band have got a new single coming out on Friday the 10th called I Might Be Dead. But first, I need to tell you that today's episode is brought to you in part by Patchwork Cables, the Los Angeles-based musical instrument cable company that specializes in pro-quality instrument cables as well as microphones and patch cords. Their braided cables are made with Mogami cables and Nutric plugs, which basically means it's some high-quality stuff, folks. The jack plugs on these things are like the size of a gorilla thumb. They are heavy duty. They don't wear down. Raz told me his has been plugged in since he started self-isolating on March 11th, and he has been able to practice social distancing with his amplifier the entire time without losing without losing any fidelity in the sound of his Les Paul. I've got one now as well. It features prominently in what friends of mine dubbed the Pile, my home studio. And, I got to tell you, folks, given the opportunity, I wouldn't go back and use another type of cable in my life. So we'd like to say thank you to Patchwork Cables, and Patchwork Cables would like to say thank you to you. So they're offering On the Green Couch listeners a special discount. If you go to patchworkcables.com and use the code GREENCOUCH at checkout, you get 10% off. So if you're looking to support a small local-owned business in these tough times and you happen to be or know a musician who could use some new cables, check out patchworkcables.com. Tell them the Green Couch folks sent you. All right, let's give a listen to I Might Be Dead by Hawk Percival and Friends. I say in speeches in 1996, halfway through the rerun to 2001, that I became a student in the anthropology department of the University of Chicago after World War II. I say jokingly that I never should have studied the subject because I can't stand primitive people. They're so stupid. The real reason my interest in the study of man as an animal flagged was that my wife, Jane Marie Cox Vonnegut, who would die as Jane Marie Cox Yarmolinsky, gave birth to a baby named Mark. We needed bucks. Jane herself, a Swarthmore Phi Beta Kappa, had won a full scholarship in the university's Russian department. When she got pregnant with Mark, she resigned the scholarship. We found the head of the Russian department in the library, I remember, and my wife told this melancholy refugee from Stalinism that she had to quit because she had become infected with progeny. Even without a computer, I can never forget what he said to Jane. My dear Miss Vonnegut, pregnancy is the beginning, not the end of life. As and his family reached the farm, Patrick ran from one room to another. He wanted to see if anything had changed since his last visit. The house dogs, joyfully wagging their tails, followed their young master wherever he went. "Come on, let's go," he shouted to them when he was satisfied that everything was as it always had been. Off he ran, with the pack barking at his heels, across the lawn, through the fields, until he reached the sandy beach.
"This is prose, and it looks like a letter."
"A personal letter, sir?"
asked Sancho.
"To judge from its opening, it is a love letter,"
replied Don Quixote.
"Do read it aloud, then,"
said Sancho.
"I'm very fond of love letters."
"Very well,"
said Don Quixote. And he read it aloud, as Sancho had requested, and found that it went like this. Your false promise and my true misfortune carry me to a place from whence you will sooner hear the news of my death than the sound of my complaints.
You rejected me, ungrateful woman, for one more wealthy but not more worthy than I. Yet if virtue were a valued treasure, I should not now be envying another's good fortune or lamenting my own misfortune. What your beauty raised up, your deeds have laid low. Your beauty made me believe you was an angel. Your deeds make me realize you are a woman. Peace be with you, who have sent war to me, and may heaven keep your husband's deceptions concealed forever, so that you are not struck with remorse for what you have done, and I do not reap a revenge that I do not...
and looked happily at his mittened hands.
"We can travel together,"
he said.
"if you're willing."
Thor looked at Loki, and Loki looked at Thor, and both of them looked at young Thialfi, who shrugged. "I can keep up," he said, confident of his speed.
"Very well,"
shouted Thor. They ate breakfast with the giant. He pulled whole cows and sheep from his provisions bag and crunched them down. The three companions ate more sparingly. After the meal, Skrymir said,
"Here, I'll carry your provisions inside my bag. Less for you to carry, and we will all eat together when we camp tonight."
He put their food in his bag, did up the laces, and strode off toward the east.